in that overtime once again, man. Being a man, being a man, y'all. Come on in here. Let's have this discussion this morning, man. I know y'all on y'all lunch break, I know y'all, ain't got nothing too much going on right now. Come on in here. I ain't gonna take too much of your time, man. Take your shoes off at the door, man. Don't track none of that bullshit on my carpet, man. Take your shoes off at the door and come on in here, have a seat, gather around, it get crowded, stand up on the wall, man. But come on in here and let's have this conversation this morning, y'all. Stop teaching your kids to be slaves, man. Stop teaching y'all kids that. Y'all come on in here, man. Dust your shoes off, take your sneakers off. Now, if you having a foot problem, keep your shit on, but you gotta stand in the hallway, man. You can't come up in here. Don't bring them foul-smelling odors from your feet up in here, man. No. Keep that outside. Everybody else, come on, take your shoes off at the door and come on in and have a seat. You know what I'm saying? Come on in here, man. Good morning to y'all. I'm back in. We're going to have this grown man conversation. We're going to have a grown man conversation. We're going to take a deep dive, man. Y'all get on in here. Man. Look at the police doing down there. It's not going on down there. Y'all get on up in chair. I'm going to give y'all a few more minutes, man. And I'm going to go and get back to work. For real. Go on, get back to work, man. Straight up. Y'all get on up in here, man. Let's have this convo. This morning, man. Let me see. Let me invite some people in here, man. Let me get some peoples in here on this good live. You understands me? Let's have this conversation, man. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about this shit, yo. Let's go. Y'all niggas sleep. Niggas at work. Let's have this convo, man. Let's have this convo. Stop teaching your kids to be slaves, man. What you gotta understand, man, about this next generation is this next generation is smarter than us. Every generation is smarter than us. A little bit more advanced than us. Every generation is designed to be that way because as we grow older and create legacies and our children come along, they have to adapt to a new world. See, the world ain't the same as when we was coming up. The world is different now. The world has, different issues than your parents' issues and their parents' issues. The world always evolves. And then you have new sets of problems that need to be solved. Now, you know, like I was just saying on my Instagram live, I truly feel like our parents dropped the ball. They stopped educating themselves after a while. What they end up doing is they came up here from the South. They got a job, and then they just basically converted back into slaves. They converted into slaves for GM. They converted into slaves for the hospitals. They converted into slaves for the fast food industry, or just somebody else's business. And over time, they have been good slaves, and they have built these companies up to billion-dollar companies. While you have the majority of people struggling, you have the majority of people not being able to pay their bills, not being able to live the lifestyle they want to live, but these companies are putting their kids through college. These companies are, buying more life insurance. So after they're gone, they're leaving their families more wealth. They're constantly building their wealth. And as good slaves or slash employees, some people are helping them do that. It's your job as a parent to not teach your child how to be a slave for anybody else's company but the family's company. See, if your family is the type of family like mine, it's not too many people who look for things to invest in for the family. They may look for things to invest in for themselves, but they don't look for things to make their family better, or make their family name a little greater. So that's why I say, man, you have to stop teaching your kids how to be slaves. You could teach your child how to count money. You could teach your child about credit. They're not going to teach them about that in school. They're not going to teach them about why it's important to not live a, a frivolous life, but live more of a frugal life. They're not going to teach them how to communicate with the banks in order to get the money or funding that you need in order to open a business. They're not going to teach them about a business checking account. They're not going to teach them about the importance of managing your money and managing your business and having a budget and not overspending. They're not going to teach them that in school. They're going to teach them some things that apply, but the majority of things they're going to learn, hey, you know, they're not going to use that in the real life, in the real world, I mean. We are out here setting our kids up for a disaster waiting to happen, man. We're out here, thinking that going to work every day is the only alternative to how we can survive, when it's actually not, man. We could be teaching our children whatever they want to learn, and we can also teach our children what they need to learn. A lot of the habits of a child comes from watching their parents and their grandparents and the people in their family. A lot of the things that we go through, right? We go through because somebody did not take the time to teach us, or take us to the library, or even to the gym. I know when I was growing up, you know, I liked sports a lot, but I never really had anybody that had the time to invest in what it was I was good at, because I was good at sports. All I needed was somebody to be like, man, I'm gonna take you to the gym every day. Now, I know what somebody would come in here and say, well, man, you could have went to the gym yourself. But this is where I say that, how are you supposed to know how to do something if you were never taught that? It's like going to a job and they expect you to know how to work all this machinery. You never been trained to do this a day in your life. You never seen this machine a day in your life. But they automatically expect for you to know how to use this machine. Like that is an issue in our community. You got parents who feel like, man, I did all I could do. And that's not true. You dropped the ball. You got grandparents who felt like, yeah, we did all we could do, but that person just a fuck up. That person just don't know no better. But you dropped the ball as well. Y'all stop educating yourself to the future once y'all got comfortable at a job where you felt like, okay, this job is gonna be around forever. But no, it was around long enough for you to take care of yourself. But that job wasn't thinking about your future and your children's future. Like I say, some people did good. Some people kept educating themselves. Some people were around the right support system and the right network. But a lot of us wasn't. A lot of us grew up in environments where it was about drugs, where it was about prostitution, where it was about sex, where it was about drinking, where it was about smoking, where it was about partying. A lot of us didn't grow up in an environment where, with even in the church, they taught you about finances, man. See, I'm not here to say what the church or, anybody else should be doing. I'm saying that's what they need to be doing. Y'all need to be teaching about how to be financially successful. Y'all need to be teaching how to disconnect from the world, disconnect from reality TV. Y'all need to be showing us why, because my thing is, you have a lot of women who watch reality TV and they're watching Yandy's life, or they're watching Candy's life, or they're watching Tiny's life, or you're watching the life of successful women, but you're not successful yet. And watching their life isn't going to teach you how to be successful, because Candy ain't on those shows showing you how to write music. See, you need to be on YouTube. You need to go hire a session with a songwriter and actually learn how to write music. That's what you need to be watching and educating yourself. And while you're educating yourself, educating your daughter who wants to be a singer. Girl, you need to be a songwriter. You need to study Whitney Houston. You need to study Beyonce. You need to study all the greats in the game and the successful people in the game. But y'all too busy worried about their personal life and not how they concentrate on business more than personal. That's why people be so intrigued by something in a star or a celebrity's personal life, when it's like you never really see their personal life too much. You see their business life, and they're always handling business. They're setting up their life to where their kids ain't gonna have to work as hard as you. Your kids still gonna have to go to GM, because you can't. It ain't like you can retire from GM and then leave your kid GM, but you can refer them in there so they can become a slave just like you. You work how many years and your life still ain't where it needs to go? But like I say, GM is worth how much? Whether they're not doing good or not, man, they're still richer than everybody. They're still richer than all the employees in there, all the slaves in there that make that place go around. But what y'all choose to do is, I guess, take the easy route out, man. It's easier just to go to work and work for them instead of trying to build some on my own. Instead of trying to, go through what I gotta go through to figure out who's going to be um like-minded and want to work with me. Y'all want everything to just happen so easily to where y'all don't want to work for nothing. That's why it's so easily um that's why it's so easy for you to go to work all day, every day, and just provide a household, some transportation, a little bit of food, and a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Because If you had to actually build something, you wouldn't do that shit. That's easy, going to work and being a slave and then living this mediocre lifestyle. And then when it's a recession and when things fall apart and you can barely make it, now we got to go on strike and we got to renegotiate and we got to go through all these arbitrations. We got to go through all this extra shit. Yeah, a person like me don't have to do that because I work for myself. Now I could go into a meeting with myself right now. That's what I'm having, a meeting with myself right now. But I'm trying to let y'all know that, man, y'all are teaching y'all kids to be just like y'all. You're teaching your kids that going to work every day is the only way you gonna survive. And that's not true. Like I say, they'll grow up and become just like you. They'll grow up and look at the situation from a, man, shit, I don't want to work that hard. Yup, I just get this job, go do my 8 hours. Nigga, I've been up since 5 o'clock in the morning. Yesterday, I was up since 5 o'clock in the morning. I ain't stopped working till like I say 11, 12 o'clock at night. And then got right back up at 5 o'clock in the morning. See, at your job, you can't even do that. At your job, you can't work that long. You can't work as many hours as you want to work. I can. And I also can be off whenever. Like I can take this time to come to y'all and educate you and then go right back to work, man. Like I'm only taking a little time out, man. You know? I'm about to go get me some to eat, some Chinese, and and eat and get back to work, man. But that's all I really wanted, just to tell y'all to, stop teaching your kids how to be good slaves, man. Teach them about credit, man. While you sitting there in your house talking about, you need a blunt or you need a drink, and your kids talking about it's boring, teach them some shit they need to know. Teach them some shit they. Stop teaching these kids how to roll the blunt subliminally. You get what I'm saying? Stop teaching these kids how to go get some alcohol. Stop teaching these kids how to self-medicate subconsciously, man. You're not actually showing them that or training them to do that, but as they're seeing you, they are being trained. As they're seeing you, they are learning. And like I said, kids learn super quick and they know more than what you think they know, man. Y'all teach y'all kids the wrong stuff. Y'all not teaching them about credit. Y'all letting them watch anything on YouTube, but you ain't making them watch credit videos on YouTube. Y'all not making the kids get on YouTube and study something that's logical. Y'all letting them watch these other people. Like, just think about Super Saiyan. Now, Super Saiyan, his parents then monopolize, and capitalize off of what they're doing on YouTube. They're recording their lifestyle and coming up and got rich. But you'll let your kids watch Super Saiyan, right? As your kids watching Super Saiyan, you don't understand that Super Saiyan them getting rich from those views. They're getting rich from your kids' views when you can be creating your own version of Super Saiyan. You get what I'm saying? He's doing music. He's doing videos. His parents are involved. They're getting other kids involved. While you sitting back allowing your kids to watch that instead of saying, you know what, son or daughter, hey, watch a video on how to make YouTube videos. Watch a video on how to make something to do with recording. Watch a video how to use a camera. Watch a video how to create something. Instead of always feeling like, well, that's the hard way. All you got to do is go up here to McDonald's and apply for that job. And they are going to tell you what to do. They're going to tell you what time to be there. If you don't show up on time, you're going to get rolled up or you're going to get fired. If they're going to teach you how to basically make their company billions of dollars. When you can be teaching your child to, cook, or you can be teaching your child to create lemonade. You can be teaching your child to, run their own business, teaching them from a young age how to run their business. Okay, today wasn't a good day, son. You probably sold one lemonade cup. You made $1. But Some of that dollar you got to put up for yourself. 10% of that, take 10 cents and go put that in the savings. Now with this other 90 cents, son, you need to be taking that and buying you some more supplies. Because just because today wasn't a good day, don't mean tomorrow ain't going to be no good day. You want to prepare for the good days. But you also want to be prepared for the bad ones too. So you need to be saving some money. You need to be putting some money in an emergency fund. Somebody might come and rob your lemonade stand. A storm may come through and tip your lemonade table over and your lemonade all spilt on the ground. You need to be able to account for those losses. You need to be able to account for those expenses. This is a part of teaching your children, man. We can't be lazy in the department of teaching our children. See, me, I'm just the type of man where, you know, if that was important, I'm all in. But if I'm in a relationship where that isn't of importance, me teaching my kids a certain way, then I'm not going to be in that type of relationship. Because I can't lead you effectively if I got my opinion of how I want to raise you, and then your mama got her way of how she was raised and how she wants you to view things. I'm fighting a cause that I won't win. So you have to also understand that, you know, you if you're in a relationship with somebody and y'all got kids, y'all should be working together, not letting or allowing the kids to see, you know, two different people's points of views, because then that creates confusion in the kid's mind. We got to be on board with the same type of program. And that's another problem that we have within the black community with our relationships. How you got the woman who wants to lead and you got the man who wants to lead. So if the man wants to teach his kids about financial literacy and he don't want his children watching all this unnecessary stuff, you got a woman who's going to be like, okay, well, shit, I don't mind them watching this unnecessary stuff that does not educate them. I'm trying to educate my kids on credit early, to where eventually when they get older and they can start having credit, they ain't just learning about it like I had to do. You know, you can have your own shop. You can have your own business. You want to do hair? Let your daughter learn how to do hair. Make her research. Make her go around some good hairstylists, some good cosmetologists. Soak up the game. But also be putting the coins away, so one day she ain't got to worry about going to the bank to get a loan. But if she does have to, at least you have taught her about credit to where she ain't going to mess it up. See, a lot of the problems be the training. A lot of the problems is the training, man. Y'all aren't training y'all kids how to run a business. You're training them how to be a slave. You're training them how to be a slave to GM. You're training them how to be a slave to the hospital. You're training them how to be a slave to the weed. You're training them how to be a slave to drinking and smoking and all of these things that won't benefit them. Like giving them the knowledge of self-ownership. You own this yourself. This is yours. You can hire employees that you feel that can help you. That's more empowering than, hey, fill out this application for next year. People be actually excited to go work for next year, man. They're excited to go get a job working for somebody who's already rich, who can dispose of you at any time. See, in Michigan, we're an at-will state. So what I mean by that is at will, they can get rid of your ass. At will, you can be working and never got a write-up, never been, you know, in trouble. You go to work early every day, you're there every day on time, they can still get rid of you. Now think about the person who went out and just got a 30-year mortgage. You had an at-will job, and you about to go get you a car note, right? And then they fire you. You know what I'm saying? They end up firing you. Now you got to go find another job. Because guess what you did? You done trapped yourself into debt, which is something we don't want our kids to do either. We don't want to trap you into things that, you know, 30-year mortgages. We don't want to trap you into things that you gotta be in. See, the only thing you gotta be in is your family business. And you gotta make sure your family is doing good. And the way you do that is you work to build that up while you're teaching them to help you with that. And they're learning while they're helping and being trained to do things the right way. Y'all don't have time for that because you wanna know why? You was taught by your parents that you gotta go to work, man. You got as a slave, you gotta go pick that cotton. You gotta go. You gotta go put this car together. You gotta go up here to this hospital. You gotta go up there to Burger King. You gotta go up there to Wendy's. You gotta work for these million and billionaire companies who pay you pennies on the dollar for the work you put in, while they're becoming extremely rich, man, and making sure their sons and daughters never have to be in your position in the restaurant. Yeah, they put their kids in there and let them learn the business, but they don't put them in there because they need a job. They don't need shit. They need the education, but they don't need the money because they already financially set. Like, and we are not teaching our kids that. We're teaching our kids just to go get a job. You heard? Get you a little piece of car. Get you a little piece of house. Get you a little piece of this. When you're 18, you got to get out. So you need to be getting you a little piece of everything. So at least you have a little piece of this when I put your ass out. That's what the majority of parents are teaching their kids, man. When you're 18, you got to get out. Now, you haven't taught your child to be, you know, you haven't taught your child or your children to be financially literate at all. They don't know the first thing about paying bills. Yeah, they seen you had to pay bills, but did you actually sit them down and show them an actual bill and say, this is how much I got to pay every month? This could fluctuate depending on how much energy we use in this house. This is the rent payment. This is how much I have to pay every month. If I don't pay this, we don't have nowhere to stay. This is the water bill. This fluctuates every month according to how much water we're actually using. Are you actually sitting down and training your children to think about these things? Or are you just telling them they need a job? Because just telling me I need a job is not help. Helping me is by educating me. Educate me on the subject. That helps me. That's why you can teach a man to fish, or you can give a man some fish, and it's going to be two different outcomes. That's where that comes from. You keep giving your kids advice. You keep giving your kids what you were given as a kid. You keep giving your kids all the wrong advice. But you're not teaching your kids, okay, you want to be a mechanic? This is where you need to go. This is what you need to start researching. Y'all got YouTube. You can start looking into that right now. Hey, we got this old school in the backyard. That's yours. You can start working on that right now. See, parents aren't teaching their kids that. They're not training them. They're just telling them. And telling somebody ain't enough help. That's like, okay, like I say, we're teaching our kids how to be a slave by not teaching them how to be a boss, by not teaching them how to stand alone. We're basically telling them you can't do that. So you're encouraging the thought of going to work for somebody else, but you're really discouraging the thought of you can work for yourself. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit harder. Yeah, you're going to have to put more hours in, but it's going to be a greater benefit. It's going to be a greater benefit to work for yourself and have things on your own than to go work and be a W-2 employee. Like, y'all ain't teaching them both sides of the game. Y'all only teaching them one thing. Well, just go to work. Because you're going to have to go to work. But you're not teaching them to educate themselves and stay learning what is new. Stay in the industry of learning what is new. If you're not teaching your kids to keep learning, you're teaching them how to be a slave. You know, somebody else will teach your kid and they'll be doing what they want them to do. That's why I say you can throw your kids out here in the street before they are actually ready
to run a household and maintain their own life, and the local drug dealer be showing them how to cook up work because you didn't teach them that, man. You don't have to sell drugs. You can start a business. The same energy that they're putting into selling drugs is the same energy that you could put into starting a business. The same energy that you put into going to the plant every damn day, working your ass off for 12 hours, 16 hours at times, you could be putting into learning how to create your own plant. You can be putting that energy into you instead of putting it into other industries, other businesses that's already wealthy. As your family, as the leader, man, as the man of the family, y'all should be teaching that instead of promoting, okay, go up here and get a job at McDonald's. Y'all sitting around wasting time, man. Y'all teaching y'all kids how to be a slave to drugs, a slave to work, a slave to a certain type of lifestyle, a mediocre lifestyle, not even really a mediocre lifestyle. You're living low class, but you're going to work, living check to check, and saying that's enough when that's not enough, man. As as the type of person I am in my family, right? I used to hate to go to my grandma's house. Just say if I fell off when I was younger, I fell off, I done fucked up, I done got into it with a chick. I gotta go back to Graham's house, right? Graham's was the only person that was here where I knew to go to, right? Now, she would help as far as giving me a place to stay, so I just ain't gotta go to the rescue mission or just be homeless, you know. But she would she would antagonize and be critical in judging me the whole time I'm there. So what that did, it didn't help me. It just encouraged me to get the fuck out of her house even sooner. I'm not about to sit here and let you talk about me and my situation when you didn't even help me get in my situation. Yeah, maybe I had a house, maybe I had a car, maybe it got repossessed, maybe my house got foreclosed on, maybe I had $1 million and I fucked it off because I didn't know what to do with it. But that's where parents come in at. That's where we drop the ball at. We should be teaching our children before they ever get a million, before they ever get a house, before they ever get a car. Hey, once you get this is what you're going to have to do. See, most kids just look at it like, man, I just need a car because I can't go and do what I want to do. But what they don't realize is, man, the maintenance that come with that car. You just don't put gas in the car and put the key in the ignition and then that's it. Anything can happen, nigga. You got to know when to put tires on your car. Motherfuckers will be letting their kids drive around this motherfucker on boiled ass tires, man. Your daughter is around here sliding around because you didn't teach her that after a certain tread depth, you need to go get some new tires because it's extremely dangerous for you to be out here driving on them tires like that. You ain't teaching your child that after your brakes start making a certain noise, you need to go get that shit changed. And you need to be saving money for when that happens because it's going to happen. You're going to eventually need some brakes, some tires. You're going to eventually need an oil change. You're going to eventually need to replace something. You're going to eventually need to put some gas in the car. So it ain't no escaping the responsibilities that come with having a car. But like I say, when nobody's teaching you that as you grow up and then you get it and you got to learn on your own, and then when you go back because now you ain't got no car and they talking about you but then trying to say they helping you, you're not helping me. You're hurting me. And you hurt me way before I ever got this because maybe I would have knew better if you taught me to know better. But you didn't teach me to know better. All you taught me was what you knew, and then you stopped learning, so that wasn't very much. That's why as parents, we need to keep educating ourselves, man. I'm not saying go take out some student loans and go to college and get into debt. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is we have things readily available to research from YouTube right now. You can go on YouTube and readily, everything that you want to know is readily available. You don't got to go and search for it. You ain't got to go to the library. You ain't got to go and ask the nearest mechanic how to work on a car. You can go right in your smartphone and learn how to work on a car. You know, it's too much excuse making, man. It's too much. It's too much. Oh, we couldn't do it, and we did the best we could do. It's too much of that when ain't nobody do the best they can do.
That's a lot.
But man, I see y'all on what y'all on today. Let me get back to work, man. But I ain't talking about work like going to work for somebody. I'm talking about actually going to work for myself. Shit. I can go another 4 hours with y'all right now, and it ain't gonna affect me, man. My money has been in the business checking account. It's been there. I'm on a schedule that I created. You know, my life is organized now. It's not all over the place where I don't got nowhere to be or I don't got nothing to do and I just ain't got nothing. No, my life ain't like that. But I most definitely don't have to go punch in. And if I don't go punch in at that specific time, then I'm about to lose my job. No, I ain't in that situation. And I'll never be in that situation again.